Today, we are looking at a milestone. We're zooming way, way in on a very specific moment in a learning journey. We're looking at day 10 of a course called Idioms Insight, hosted by instructors Jays and Isha.
And I can see people thinking, a language course, really?
Right. Now, before you think, okay, a language lesson, I might skip this one. Hold on a second. Because the source material opens with a statistic that honestly kind of haunted me after I read it.
It's a powerful one.
They call it the warrior statistic.
It is a striking number to start with. The source material opens right up with Jay's essentially saying, stop scrolling.
Which is a great hook.
It is. And the reason he does that is because of this data point. The vast majority of people, we're talking massive numbers, who start learning a language quit by day 3 or day 4.
Day 3 or 4, that is incredibly early.
I kid nothing.
It's like buying a gym membership on January 1st and quitting by January 5th. It's that initial burst of dopamine hitting the wall of reality.
Exactly. It's the novelty wearing off. It's when the app stops being a fun little game and starts feeling like actual work.
The moment it gets hard.
The moment it gets hard. But the premise here, and this is the core of it, is that if you have reached day 10, which is the focus of this specific deep dive, you are statistically in the top 10% of people who finish what they start.
The top 10%.
You have crossed a real threshold. You aren't just a dabbler anymore. The source material refers to this status as reaching warrior level.
I really love that framing. Warrior levels.
Good, isn't it?
It frames learning not just as memorization, but as a battle of attrition, a battle against your own laziness or your own distraction. So if you are listening to this and you've ever stuck with something, anything really for 10 days straight, you're already operating at that level.
Precisely. You're in the club.
Yeah.
And the mission of today's deep dive is really interesting because of that. We aren't just going to rattle off grammar rules or conjugate verbs for 30 minutes.
No, definitely not.
We are going to analyze the architecture of this 10-day crash course. We are going to look at how Jais and Aisha have constructed a toolkit that takes a student from absolute zero to what they call a confident speaker in just 10 days.
The architecture, that's a perfect word for it.
And this day 10, it's a consolidation point.
Right. The source mentions this as a pivot point. There are no new heavy concepts introduced on day 10. It's all about cementing that foundation you've built over the first 9 days, fixing the weak spots.
Yes. Before you build the second floor, you make sure the first one is solid.
So for our listeners, we are going to walk through the 4 main pillars that this course has built. We've got the survival toolkit,
The social stuff.
then the mechanics of sound and time, after that, the engine room of verbs, and then finally putting it all into context with daily life.
And then the big finale.
And then at the end, we're going to simulate the quiz that they give, which I actually tried myself and found surprisingly tricky.
It is. It really is. And what I appreciate about this structure, just from a pedagogical standpoint, is that it moves from self to world.
Ooh, say more about that.
It starts with how do I survive and moves to how do I describe my house and then how do I interact with a stranger. It's a very logical, very human flow.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack the first layer, the foundation. Days 1 and 5. This is what they call the social foundation, and it starts with the absolute basics. Survival phrases.
Day 1. The source calls these the first 20 survival phrases. Now, when we look at language learning, people often want to jump to the complex thoughts.
Right, they want to debate philosophy or tell a really clever joke.
Exactly.
Right.
But you can't write poetry if you can't ask where the bathroom is.
Yeah.
It's that fundamental.
That is the absolute truth. The source lists things like, hello, good morning, good evening, the standard stuff.
The bare minimum greetings.
But then it gets into what I call the social lubricants. The phrase, how are you? And the loop, I'm fine, thank you. And you.
That loop is so critical, it's a ritual.
It's not even a real question, is it?
Not at all. Linguistically, it's not actually a question about your health. If someone says, how are you? In a greeting context, they don't want your medical history.
You really don't.
It's a signal that you are open to interaction. It's a handshake in verbal form. It's a script that both people know, which makes it safe.
And the source highlights the politeness markers here, too. Excuse me, these aren't just words. You said it earlier. They're safety nets.
They are absolutely safety nets.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, think about it. If you mess up the grammar or you use the wrong word, which you will.
Oh, constantly.
But if you sandwich that mistake between a sorry and a please, people will forgive you. They will help you. They'll see you're trying.
Ah, I see.
But if you are rude and bad at the language, You're on your own. Nobody's going to help you.
That's a great point. Politeness buys you patience.
It buys you so much goodwill.
And speaking of safety nets, I noticed a specific set of phrases in the day one material that are purely for crisis management.
The panic buttons.
The panic buttons, exactly. Things like, I don't understand, or speak slowly, please.
Essential.
And of course, the big one, where is the toilet? Or where is the washroom?
It sounds funny, but that is the definition of a survival phrase. If you are in a foreign country and you don't know that phrase, you are in immediate physical trouble.
It's a real biological need.
It is. And what's interesting about the Idioms Insight approach is that they prioritize this on day one. They don't wait. They don't hide it in lesson 7. They give you the tools to manage your own ignorance immediately.
To manage your own ignorance, I like that.
You can say, I don't understand. That gives you control over the conversation.
Yeah.
It stops the panic. You're not just being flooded with sounds you can't process.
Empowers the learner to pause the chaos. Okay. Now, moving from day 1 to day 5, the course shifts from immediate survival to identity.
Yes. From help me to this is me.
How do you introduce yourself? And they use a very specific template in the source material. They use the example of a guy named Aman.
Right. Aman from Lucknow. This template is fascinating because it covers the past, present, and personality in about 4 sentences.
Let's break it down.
Okay, so it starts with the name. I'm Aman, or you can call me Aman. Simple enough.
Then origin. Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh.
Then age. 28 years old.
Yeah.
And then occupation.
The occupation part had a nice distinction in the notes. I thought this was clever. You can say, I work as a software engineer, or I am a student of computer science.
It gives you options depending on your status. It acknowledges that not everyone is in the workforce.
Very inclusive.
And then notice the hobby section at the end. Reading books, watching movies.
That seems like such a small thing, but you're saying it's crucial.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Because day 1 handled the immediate transactional interaction. Hello, where's the bathroom?
Got it.
Day 5 builds the backstory. It turns you from a generic stranger into a person with interests. It invites connection.
It opens the door.
It opens the door to a real relationship. If you say, I like reading books, the other person can ask, oh, really? What books? And now you're having a conversation.
It's the difference between a transaction and a connection. Okay, so that's the social foundation. Now let's get into the mechanics. This is part 2 of our deep dive. Sound and time. Days 2 and 3. And this is where things get slippery.
The shape-shifting alphabet, as they call it in the source.
Yes.
Yeah.
The source talks about the complexity of English vowels. And honestly, as a native speaker, I forget how nightmarish this must be for learners.
It is the single biggest hurdle for many people.
The letter A alone acts like it has multiple personalities.
It is a chaotic letter. The source contrasts apple, which is that short A sound.
A as in cat.
Right. And then you have agent, which is the long E. The A says its own name.
Okay, so 2 sounds already.
Then father, which is die, totally different sound, and call, which is souls and ham. That's 4 completely different sounds from one shape.
And if you are coming from a language where one letter equals one sound, like Spanish or Hindi,
This feels like gaslighting. It feels like the language is deliberately trying to trick you.
it really does. Here's an A, but good luck guessing what it sounds like.
But the course offers a lifeline, a rule. They talk about the magic E rule.
I love this explanation in the source because it finally puts a system to some of the madness.
The magic E is a critical phonetics concept.
Yeah.
The rule is simple. A silent E at the end of a word changes the previous vowel sound from short to long.
Okay.
The way they teach it, which I think is great, is that the E makes the vowel say its name.
Oh, that's a good mnemonic. So take the word hop, H-O-P, short O sound.
Right. You add an E to the end, H-O-P-E, and the O says O.
It becomes hope.
Exactly. Or bit, B-I-T, short I.
Becomes bite. The I says I.
Tub becomes tube. The U says you.
Yeah.
It's a consistent rule in a language that is just full of exceptions. Understanding the magic E unlocks the pronunciation of thousands of words instantly.
It's a key.
It turns a guessing game into a system. You can look at a new word and have a 90% chance of pronouncing it right just by checking for that E.
And it's not just A. They mention the diversity of E, like the short E in bed versus the long E in complete, and I with sit versus like.
It really emphasizes that in English, spelling is a suggestion, but phonetics is the reality.
A very good way to put it, which segues perfectly into day 3, quantifying reality, numbers, and time. Because if letters are slippery, time in English is weirdly geometric.
It is, isn't it? The whole past versus to logic. I never thought about it until I saw it broken down here.
Me neither. You have the right side of the clock. From the 12 to the 6, which is past.
5 past 4, quarter past 6, half past 7. Easy enough.
But then you cross the 6, and suddenly you're on the left side of the clock, which is 2.
And this requires a mental subtraction, which is cognitively heavy for a beginner.
Say more about that. Why is it so much harder?
Quarter past 6 is straightforward addition. It's 6 plus 15 minutes, 6.15. But quarter to 9 requires you to look at 8.45 and project into the future.
Ah, you're referencing an hour that hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. 20 to 8 means you are at 7:40, but you were talking about 8.0. You have to do the math backwards. 60 minus 20 is 40.
That is a lot of mental gymnastics when you're also trying to just form a sentence. And then there are the pronunciation nuances of the calendar. The source explicitly points out Wednesday.
The silent D. This is a classic shibboleth, a tiny detail that marks you as a fluent speaker versus a beginner.
Because everyone wants to say Wednesday.
Of course they do. That is how it is spelled. But the source corrects it firmly. Wednesday.
And February, which is often pronounced February.
Right. The first R often disappears in common speech. These are the things that don't change the meaning. People will understand you if you say Wednesday, but getting them right boosts your confidence.
It makes you feel like an insider.
It makes you sound much more natural. And then there's date formatting too. The 15th of August.
You don't just say August 15.
You can, but the more formal and common structure is the plus the ordinal number plus of. It's a very specific formula.
A lot of little rules to remember.
It is. And mastering day 3 means you can navigate appointments, schedules, and deadlines. You can exist in the professional world. You can't book a meeting if you can't say the date.
Speaking of existing, let's move to part 3. The engine room. Days 4 and 6. This is where we get into the machinery of sentences. The magic verbs.
This is day 4, the absolute core. And they identify 3 pillars: to be, to have, and to want.
Just 3.
Just 3 to start. If you have these 3 verbs, you can describe existence. I'm a student. Possession, I have a car. And desire, I want coffee.
That covers a lot of ground.
It covers about 80% of human motivation. What you are, what you own, and what you need.
But there is a trap here, a big one. The source highlights a very specific, very common pitfall with the verb to be.
Yes, the dreaded I am agree.
I hear this all the time. I am agree with you. Or I am like this movie.
It's so common, and it's an understandable error. It usually comes from translating directly from other languages where the structure might be I am in agreement.
So the learner thinks they need the I am to start the sentence.
Exactly. But in English, agree and like are strong verbs. They're action verbs. They don't need the helper am. So the source emphasizes again and again, correct is I agree, I like, not I am agree.
That is a fossilized error for so many people. They learn it wrong at the start and then say it for 10 years without anyone correcting them.
It is. So it's great that Jays and Ishia catch it on day 4. They're trying to prevent that fossilization from ever happening.
Okay, so that's to be. Then there is to have for ownership. She has 2 cats, pretty straightforward. And to want for desires, but they add a nice politeness upgrade to want.
Right, because I want can sound a little demanding.
A bit childish. I want coffee.
It sounds a bit like a toddler. Or a king. The source suggests upgrading to I'd like, the contraction of I would like. Or, when offering, would you like?
It softens the request.
He turns a demand into a social interaction. It's much more collaborative.
And once you have the verbs to build a statement, you need the tools to extract information. That's day 6, the 5W plus 1H framework.
The journalist's toolkit.
Who, what, where, when, why, and how.
It seems simple. Everyone learns these words. But the course focuses not just on the words themselves, but on matching the word to the answer category.
What do you mean by that?
It's about pattern recognition. When your ear hears who, your brain must scan for a person. If you hear when, you scan for a time or a date. If you hear how, you scan for a method or a quantity.
So it's training your brain to anticipate the type of information required?
Precisely. The source uses examples like where do you live, which expects a place, versus how much does it cost, which expects a number. If you mix these up and answer a where question with a time, the conversation completely collapses.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the social skills, the sounds, and the grammar engine. Now in part 4, the course takes all of that and drops it into the real world. Contextual mastery, days 7, 8, and 9.
This is where the rubber meets the road. They start with mapping the environment in day 7, the house.
And this is where the source material gets really interesting culturally, because the vocabulary list isn't just generic Western stuff like oven and fork.
No, it's very specific to an Indian context.
I noticed that immediately. In the kitchen vocabulary, they list tawa, which is a flat pan for making roti.
Kahai, a type of wok. And rolling pin, or specifically the balan, they use the Hindi word.
They also list mixer grinder,
which is an essential appliance in almost every Indian household. A generic English course published to the UK might teach casserole dish, which isn't nearly as useful for this specific learner.
That's such a good point. And in the bathroom, they mention bucket and mug or loda.
For bucket baths, exactly. This does something incredibly important. It validates the learner's reality.
It says your life is worthy of being described in English.
Perfect. It says you can describe your actual life, not just some hypothetical life in London or New York. It anchors the language in their daily truth, which makes it stick.
That continues into day 8. The daily timeline. The source walks through a day in the life narrative.
This is a brilliant exercise for teaching present tense and sequencing. The narrative is so detailed and relatable for the target audience.
Let's walk through it. It starts wake up at 6:45, brush teeth, bucket bath.
Then breakfast, chai and paratha. Again, culturally grounded, not toast and coffee.
Commute at 8:10 by scooter, work from 9 to 6.
And just listen to the prepositions in there. You're learning them naturally. You see at used with 6.45, by used with scooter from 9 to 6. You learn the grammar by hanging it on the hook of a familiar story.
A story you already know.
You're not learning two things at once, a new story and new grammar. You're just applying new labels to a script you live every day.
And it ends with freshen up, snacks, dinner at 9, bed at 11.14. It captures the rhythm of a working day perfectly.
It's a complete narrative arc in 5 or 6 sentences.
And finally, day 9, the culmination of all social interaction, the restaurant simulation.
This is the final boss fight of the first 10 days. Ordering food in public.
Why is that the final boss? It seems simple.
Because it combines everything. Politeness markers from day 1, verbs from day 4, questions from day 6, numbers from day 3, and cultural nouns. It's high stakes, it's public, and you have to get it right to get what you want.
That's a lot of pressure. So what's the key?
The magic phrase here is, can I have? Followed by, please.
Simple but effective.
Can I have the menu, please? And then the specific order examples in the source are, frankly, mouth-watering. Paneer butter masala, medium spicy.
2 garlic naans, 1 jeera rice, 2 sweet lasses.
I'm getting hungry just reading the transcript. But notice the complexity there. You're not just saying paneer. You're saying paneer butter masala, medium spicy.
You're modifying the noun.
Right. You're using numbers. 2 garlic naans. And then you have to manage the end of the interaction. Can I have the bill, please? It turns a stressful situation where you might just point at the menu into a script you can rehearse and perform with confidence.
You're performing competence.
You're performing competence, and that feeling is addictive. Which brings us to the main event of the source material, Part 5, the comprehensive quiz. Day 10 isn't just a review. It is essentially a gamified test of everything we just discussed.
I love how they structure this. It's 30 questions broken into 6 rounds, and they explicitly ask the student to answer out loud.
Out loud. It's not a paper test. It's a speaking test.
Why is that so important?
Because you can know the answer in your head. You can recognize the word on the page, but can you get your mouth to make the shapes under pressure in real time? That is the real test of fluency, the connection between brain and mouth.
The muscle memory. Let's look at some of the tricky versus easy questions they highlighted. In round 1, the survival round, they ask, how do you politely ask someone to speak more slowly?
A great question. The trap here is to just say, slow down, which is rude and abrupt.
Right. The correct answer is speak slowly, please, or can you speak a bit more slowly? It tests that politeness marker from day 1.
Exactly. And then in round 2, the sound and time round, they ask about that silent letter in the day of the week.
Wednesday, Wednesday.
If you write it, you see the D. But if you say it, it vanishes. That question tests if you are listening to the sound or just reading the spelling in your head. It's an auditory test.
Then there's the 7.15 conversion.
7:15. Testing that geometric clock logic from day 3.
Round 3 caught my eye, the magic verbs. They ask you to spot the error in I am want to learn English.
There it is again, the I am trap. The correct answer, of course, is just I want to learn English. They're hammering that point home.
And another one was she have a new phone, which needs to be she has.
Third person singular, a classic grammatical sticking point. This tests subject-verb agreement.
Round 4 was the questions, identifying who for people and why for reasons. Pretty straightforward pattern recognition. But round 5 brings back the cultural vocab.
Yes. Name 3 things in an Indian kitchen.
This is a great test of recall.
It is. Because if you say microwave, toaster, dishwasher, you might be technically correct in English, but did you learn the lesson? Did you engage with the material?
They're looking for the specific words they taught.
They're looking for tawa, kadhai, belen. It tests recall of the specific material taught, not just your general knowledge.
And finally, round 6, routine. What are the first 2 things you do after waking up?
Connecting right back to that day 8 narrative. Brush teeth, bucket bath. It tests your memory of the story.
Now let's talk about the scoring. They break it down. 25-30 out of 30 is outstanding. 20-24 is strong. But what if you get below 15? What's the message then?
This is where the expert in me loves their approach. They don't say you failed. They don't say you're bad at this. They say this is a roadmap.
A roadmap for what to review.
Exactly. A mistake is just data. If you missed all the questions about time, you know exactly what to review. You go back to day 3. It promotes a growth mindset.
So it's diagnostic, not judgmental.
Perfectly put. You aren't bad at English, you just haven't mastered day 3 yet. Go fix it.
That is a huge distinction. It removes the shame, which is what makes people quit.
It keeps them in the game. It says you can fix this.
So you've taken the quiz, you have your data, you know your score. Now what? Part 6, homework and next steps.
And this is key. Passive listening is the enemy of language learning. You cannot learn to speak by just listening. You have to produce. So the homework they assign is very active.
Okay, task 1. Choose your 2 weakest days and repeat the sentences from those lessons 10 times, out loud.
Repetition. It builds the muscle memory in your tongue and jaw. It automates the sounds.
Task 2. Write down and then speak 10 of your missed quiz answers.
This connects the hand, the eye, and the mouth. You write it, you see it, you speak it. It creates multiple neural pathways to the same piece of information, making it stronger.
And task 3 is the big one, the video audio challenge. 90 seconds.
This is the capstone project for the first 10 days.
You have to record yourself for 90 seconds, and you must include a self-introduction from day 5.
Describe your current room using colors and opposites, which is actually a sneak peek into future skills they haven't taught yet.
Well, that's clever. A little stretch goal.
And then list 5 sentences about your daily routine from day 8. If you can do that for 90 seconds continuously, you are speaking English, period.
That is terrifying and exhilarating at the same time, the fact that you have to actually record it.
Yes, it forces you to perform. It's one thing to say it to your bedroom wall. It's another to hit record. And when you watch it back, you will see your progress. You have proof.
A tangible artifact of your learning. And then after all that, they tease day 11.
Right. Family and relationships.
It's the next logical step.
Of course. Moving from the self and the house to the clan. Mother, father, siblings, cousins, pets. It's the natural next step in expanding your world and the things you can talk about.
And throughout all of this, the source mentions the hosts, Jace and Aisha, are constantly reinforcing that positive psychology.
Constantly.
You are in the top 10%. You are a warrior. Be proud of this streak.
That psychological support is just as important as the grammar. Language anxiety is real. It's a huge barrier. But feeling like you are part of a winning team, the Warriors, keeps you coming back for day 11.
So let's wrap this up. We've unpacked the source. We've gone through the architecture of these 10 days. What does it all mean?
I think it means that fluency isn't magic. It's structure. It's smart design. We just saw a blueprint for how 10 days can take you from knowing nothing to ordering a meal, describing your job, and navigating your day.
It's not about being gifted at languages.
Not at all. It's about stacking simple blocks, sounds, then words, then verbs, then context, until you have a house, a functional structure you can live inside.
And that concept of the warrior level, it really sticks with me. It's not about talent. It's about not quitting on day 4.
Precisely. The source proves that consistency, just showing up, is the primary variable for success. Talent is overrated. Persistence is undefeated.
So here's a thought for you to take away today. If this is what is possible in just 10 days, if you can go from 0 to ordering paneer butter masala, medium spicy, in English in 10 days, What does fluency look like in 30 days or 60?
The curve is exponential. The progress speeds up.
And maybe apply this day 10 review concept to your own life. Is there a skill you are learning, maybe at work or a hobby, where you need to stop, look back, audit your progress, and fix the weak spots before you move forward?
It's a powerful idea, the strategic pause.
Maybe you are at day 10 of something right now and you don't even know it.
Don't quit. You're almost a warrior.
Thanks for listening to the